Hello Internet, and welcome to Ramblings of a Madman. I'm Alex, and I'm joined by Sean and Stuart for a shallow and probably uninformed dive into the world of unexplained mysteries, conspiracy theories, and the supernatural. And guys, we finally made it. We've reached the Cuba arc of Ramblings of a Madman. If this was an anime, we've changed arcs, apparently.
We have a narrative now.
Yeah, we got a whole cinematic universe coming. Hope you're prepared. There's 17 movies planned over the next 20 years. I prepared some episodes related to Cuba because it's a quite interesting country and it's got like some mysteries related to it and some horrible political issues, but we'll breeze past that. But today we're talking about Fidel Castro and all the stupid ways people have tried to kill him in the past.
Ooh, interesting.
And
okay.
Next time, we're going to be covering a recent mystery related to Cuba. So how are you guys doing on this fine evening, day / morning, whenever you're listening to this?
I'm good. I'm excited because it sounds like you got a little 2-part episode for us.
I do.
It's been a while since we've had a 2-parter.
Mm-hmm.
How are you,
Stu,
Stu?
you alright?
No.
Yeah.
I'm asking him.
Everyone wants me. I'm excellent, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. This will be fun. Cuba's one of these countries that you hear loads about, and obviously we touched a little bit on Cuba when I did JFK, so I know a little bit about Cuba and a little bit about Castro, but probably not as much as you're going to hopefully inspire us with.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of inspiring, I'll now inspire the listeners to head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a rating or review.
Smooth.
Very smooth. I totally planned that.
Yeah, imagine if we'd have actually planned that. That would have worked out even better.
It would have been amazing. So we're available on pretty much every podcast platform out there. Pick your favourite one. Give us a search.
Facebook
there.
podcasts.
Except Facebook Podcasts. I refuse to acknowledge that as a thing. And we're also on Twitter at Rome Podcast, ROAM Podcast. Yeah, so last time I gave a challenge and some people reported back. They did a good job. But if you didn't listen to the last episode, then I will ask you all to go out there and tell one person about our lovely show. And maybe we can get extra listeners. That'll be great. So, Stuart, since you seem to be quite confident in this, I'm going to quiz you.
Oh, great.
What do you know about Cuba and or Fidel Castro off the top of your head?
It is a country.
It
is in the Atlantic Ocean. No, it's probably not in the Atlantic Ocean, is it? Is it? I'm going to say it's in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah,
I was trying to think if it was in a sea, technically. But when was Fidel Castro? Was it the 60s?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What else do I know about Castro?
He was a man.
He was a man. He had a beard.
He had a beard.
Yeah.
He sometimes wore a hat.
He did, yeah.
It's a pirate.
He had a wooden leg and an eye patch.
And a parrot on his shoulder.
I just think cigars.
Yeah, pretty much everyone does. When you think of Cuba, right? You think of Cuban cigars.
Oh, yeah, true.
Havana
I meant
rum.
Castro as well, but, he is Cuban.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Fidel Castro was the guy he ran Cuba for a long time, from 1959 all the way to 2011.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Long
ages.
time, yeah.
He overthrew the previous president, who was called Fulgencio Batista. He was basically like a corrupt guy. He was a dictator, secretly backed by the US. So basically America had essentially controlled Cuba using this guy, and he used like a load of puppet presidents, all the way going back to the 30s. So even when he wasn't like the figure of the face of Cuba, he was kind of like in the shadows controlling it.
He was Palpatine.
He was Palpatine. And like Palpatine, he couldn't be killed until he was killed.
I'm excited to the bit where we find out who's Jar Jar Binks in this story.
Well, I don't know actually. Well, it might become clear the more we talk about it. Yeah, so the relationship between Cuba and the US is really, really complicated, and I don't really understand a lot of it. So I'm just going to kind of skim through it. But essentially, Castro liked communism, and he made the country a one-party communist state, and he nationalised a lot of industries and businesses, including a lot of big US-owned businesses, like the oil companies and stuff like that. So the US weren't very happy about that. They're not a big fan of communism, if you don't know, and they especially don't like their overseas companies not making money. And Cuba's like right off the coast of Florida, so they kind of think they have a claim to it anyway. And because Castro had like taken out the previous guy who they were controlling, they basically decide to off Castro and get a new guy in charge. So Fabian Escalante, who was the head of the Cuban Secret Service during this time, totaled up the number of attempted plots against Castro during a 2006 documentary that I watched, and he counted 638 separate plots by the CIA and Cuban exiles.
Wow.
That's crazy.
638.
And he was in for like 60 years, he said. 60 years? 50 years?
That's how long he ran for. He survived a little bit after that as well. So all these plots took place over the terms of 8 different US presidents, from Dwight D. Eisenhower all the way to Bill Clinton in the early 2000s. I think 2001 was the last plot that we know of anyway. So I'm going to ask you a tough question now. If you're the US and you have a frenemy across the pond, how do you plan on getting rid of him? Throw some ideas out. Not that you ever would kill a guy, but if you were going to kill a guy, how would you do it?
Sniper.
It depends what you're trying to game. I think
The
if
death.
you're...
Stuart.
No, but like, depending on what you're trying to gain directly. So if you're trying to incur a revolution, then he needs to be made a martyr. If you want to invoke stability, then it needs to be something that leads to stability. So, like, for example, the main reason I'm saying that is because if you outright kill him, whether you make it look like an accident, he gets sniped, he gets poisoned, whatever, there's going to be a big reaction to that, and it's going to obviously look like a stunt, and that's going to create revolution. If you want it to be controlled, you want him to be diagnosed with an illness that he's going to die of, and therefore they need to prepare for something to come after him. So, for example, you might poison him, but you might blame it on cancer and say that he's got a sudden diagnosis of cancer and he's got 2 months to live. That's the main reason I'm saying that. So it depends on what the US were trying to gain from it. If they were trying to gain instability, then the way to do it is to make it obvious, is to have him assassinated in a way that is public, basically.
That makes a good point.
You've clearly thought this through.
Yeah, it's the end of the episode now.
Mm-hmm.
I was the final attempt.
We have nothing else to talk about. No, joking aside, I think that is a good point. I said sniper straight away, but I'm not saying sniper. A sniper wasn't one of the methods. I'm presuming it was.
There was 600 of them. Yeah, the sniper was one of the methods.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So I agree with what Stuart's saying. It depends on what they were trying to do. So the majority of it, I'm guessing, was poison or, an inside man.
Mm-hmm. In terms of like whether they wanted to destabilize the country or whether they like wanted to control, they seemed to try both things. Like, it was over such a long time period that they tried all sorts of stuff. So there's plots which are like hire a guy to just take him out. There's plots which are like, we'll slowly try and destabilize the country, and then hopefully he'll lose power because of that. So like the early plans were just to ruin his reputation. So one of the things they thought about doing was spraying an LSD-like substance in his broadcasting studio. So while he was giving a speech, he would like trip out and say weird things. Ultimately, they decided that this plan was, quote, too unstable, whatever that means. LSD is pretty unstable as it is. So they moved on and they decided to hit him where it hurts, which is the beard. Dun, dun, dun. So the plan was to go to his hotel room, dust his shoes with a thing called thallium salts, and then this would make his beard fall out.
No.
And then that would like ruin his reputation as like the guy with the beard.
I just love the idea that he turns up clean shaven and they're like, wait a minute, everything you stand for is in tatters.
Pretty much, yeah.
That can't be real.
It's real, yeah. all of this is a true story, by the way.
This is already ridiculous. They wanted to make him infamous.
Defame him.
Defame, yeah, that's the right word. The defame him for getting rid of his beard. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, but
I thought they were trying to kill him.
The very first things were just like, right, we don't want to kill him. Let's just like make him look crazy in front of the world stage.
Yeah, try and get his country to throw him out of power.
Yeah, but like this beard plan never worked because the trip he was supposed to go on to the hotel where they were going to get him, he cancelled, apparently. And apparently they never tried it again. And then they quickly moved on to assassination plots.
Do you know why they never tried it again? Because they realised how fucking ridiculous it is.
Yeah. I just like the idea that actually it was never going to work because his beard was stuck on. Like a wig. He's got a giant beard wig.
Chin wig.
And they were like, hang on a minute. This is never going to work. It's not a real beard.
They ran up to him and just pulled it down.
Yeah.
Like he did to Santa Claus.
Can you... No, seriously. Imagine that. They're all... It's like, what's the big fucking... NATO?
Yeah.
NATO, yeah. They're all around the... everyone's around the desks.
A table with a big screen.
Table, right. How are we going to stop Castro?
Press the red button. Release the beard.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Whose idea was it and who signed it off?
It's not NATO. It's, imagine like a dusty CIA room closet where they're like planning this sort of thing. This is how I imagine it.
Where they're all on LSD themselves.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, so they kind of gave up on that and they moved on to let's just plain old murder him. That'll work it out. So as I'm going to go through these, I thought for fun we should give each assassination plan a rating.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I've picked a rating system which I think is very underused and is applicable to most things in life. This is the Robot Wars judging system of style, control, damage, and aggression.
Oh, we're getting statistical up in here.
So I think we should give each assassination plot a rating out of 5 based on how stylish it is, how controlled it is, how much damage it would do, and how aggressive it is.
Okay.
As you do to most things in life.
Okay.
You guys down?
As you do to most things in life.
It's very applicable, I think.
I'm pretty sure that's not the rating system they used on ratemypoo.com, but they should.
I mean, it would still count.
A 5 for aggression on that poo.
Oh. There's real splashback.
A lot of screaming was involved. Some blood.
Oh my god. That's not the way I wanted it to go. Let's just get on with the episode.
Yeah, so of course, the US government would never try to assassinate a foreign leader. But if they had tried to get rid of Fidel Castro, these are some of the ways they would have done it. So the big one, which probably everyone knows about, is the Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961. So in 1960, Miami Zoo was used as a secret training camp to prepare for the Bay of Pigs invasion. The CIA recruited a large force of Cuban exiles to storm the country and depose Castro. They meant it to look like the exiles had planned it themselves, but famously the assault failed and it quickly became obvious to the Cuban government that the US had orchestrated the whole thing. So what do you guys know about it? Really?
Absolutely
Besides what I just told you. No? Play Black Ops 1?
Ah.
So I know a little bit about the Bay of Pigs. I know it was obviously part of the Cold War, and the idea was that it was like you just said, it was a coup. It was an attempted overthrowing of the government. I think part of the reason that they realised that the Americans were involved is weren't there. I think it was like US military weapons and stuff. It was quite obvious that they had been given like various pieces of kit by the Americans, and their like training was exactly how the US Army would like move, rather than some random group of untrained people attempting to overtake. Like they moved in a military style. It was clear that it had some sort of training. It wasn't just an angry mob that had formed and kind of doing unpredictable behaviour. They were moving in very much in sync.
Yeah, there's a number of reasons why Cuba found out about the thing, but essentially, I think Russia had a spy in the CIA at the time, and they sent a paper article out a few days before the invasion saying there was going to be an invasion on this day. So they kind of like spoiled the whole thing.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
And I think, I may be wrong about this, but I think the US did some bombing runs a few days beforehand as well to sort of like set the stage.
Okay.
Any thoughts, John? Play Black Ops 1?
I vaguely remember it. I remember it being at night time.
Yeah, you do a zipline, and then you go to his bedroom and he's not there. It's a body double. Which I don't know if that's what actually happened, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think that might be dramatised.
Yeah. At the end of it, yeah, you do. Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
I think it more got stopped on the shoreline of Cuba, if anything. It
Right.
was kind of a whole like mess.
Where the Americans turned up and Cuba were like, guys, what are you doing? And America were like,
Nothing.
we'll just be going home now.
Just retreats back into the sea.
Yeah, so stylish, do you reckon? I think it's pretty stylish.
Pretty stylish.
I mean,
it's quite it's fairly ambitious to get like a guerrilla warfare troop of people. And
Mhm.
yeah, like a World War II D-Day landing thing is what I've got in my head.
Yeah.
I think it was paratrooping.
That's even okay,
better.
In that case, style gets a 5 instantly.
Okay. Not very controlled.
No, I was going to say probably the lowest possible way of getting it controlled.
Okay, so 0 control. Damage?
Can I give a 5 to their own reputation? Or like, can we do -5 because it had the opposite effect?
We can do this. We can do whatever we want.
We can do
This is
It's
whatever
our
we
show.
podcast, damn it. Right, I'm going to go with the -4. No, -5. They almost started
For
a
control.
war. For control. No,
For
wait.
control, okay.
No, couldn't. Oh, I went with damage. I agreed with your
Oh,
control.
damage.
Wait, but how much damage did they do? Did they manage to actually
-5.
do much damage?
I actually don't know.
I feel like surely they must
They
have...
did some bombing runs beforehand.
Yeah,
That's
did
the
the
audition
bombing
damage,
runs...
right?
Did the bombing runs bomb airports?
No.
No, it's just because Michael Bay directed it. There's no meaning to the explosion.
It's just a random explosion. It's just on a farm. There's just a sheep flying through the air for no apparent reason.
Yeah, and aggression. Pretty aggressive.
Oh,
Pretty
5.
aggressive.
It's an invasion.
Yeah, because although did they wanted Castro dead then, didn't they?
Yeah, I imagine like a public hanging sort of situation.
So that's pretty aggressive.
It's pretty aggressive.
I would say that's probably max points for aggression.
Yeah, you can't get more aggressive than bombing and invading.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
I'm also thinking, like, depending on what they would have done. Who was it that was hung in the street or beaten in the street? Was it Gaddafi?
Gaddafi, yeah, I think so.
That's kind of what I have in my head of if this had worked, that would have been what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem as if it was going to be like we've invaded our own country to take somebody and imprison them. This seemed like it was.
No, this was mob justice.
This is mob. Yeah,
Because these
that's
were
a great phrase. Yeah.
exiles from Cuba, so they wanted their home back.
mhm.
Okay, so moving on. After the Bay of Pigs invasion didn't go very well, obviously the CIA turned to the mafia. Because,
As you do.
I mean, they turned to
You
some of
should
the
have
people...
more
Yeah.
frenemies.
Yes, more frenemies. They
The
turned to the
natural
people
progression of things.
who were wanted by them, and they apparently couldn't find to capture them, but they managed to find them to recruit them to kill a foreign leader. So, do you remember our good friend Sam Giancarlo from Marilyn Monroe?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, he was involved.
Of course he was.
CIA recruited him and some of the top brass from the mafia, and they decided on poison, more specifically botulinum pills,
Ooh.
which the CIA manufactured for the job and gave them to the
Stuart,
mafia.
what is that?
So botulinum is Botox. So it's a muscle paralysis
Oh, God.
agent. So the idea is normally with muscle paralysis agents is that you give them to people and they can't breathe because their respiratory muscles don't work.
Oof.
So they can no longer create airflow into their lungs. They can't breathe and they die.
Wow.
Yeah, you have a bad time.
Yeah. So it's pretty. You basically suffocate because your muscles don't move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the mob tried several times to add the poison into Castro's food and drinks, but they were ultimately unsuccessful.
It just made his face look great. All those wrinkles gone. Honestly, that man's never looked better.
20 years younger. In one attempt, the mafia hired a hitman to pose as a waiter for Castro. He was to spike a chocolate milkshake that Castro had ordered, but managed to rip open the pill and spill all of the poison onto the floor.
Of course.
That's definitely like
It was
a
his
skit.
first time.
It was his first. He was very nervous. Like he wasn't into like the whole killing foreign leaders thing.
Well, I think that gets a 1 for style then from me. Like,
Nah,
if
I mean, putting
if
it
you
into
spill
the
it on the
milkshake.
floor, yeah, but
There's
it's the
control is a
implementation
one.
of it.
Control is the
I
one.
think poison always has low style points.
It's a bit
Is it?
cheap, isn't it?
I think it
It's a bit
depends on the
cheap.
era.
It's cowardly.
I think it depends if it's in, if it's in style for that era. Because now everyone's done poison, but
Like the 1800s.
Yeah.
Back when you could go buy like cocaine from
I
the
don't
pharmacy.
know. I've never heard of. It makes sense that Botox is a poison, actually, because it literally paralyzes the muscles. But to me, that's quite stylish. I've never heard of Botox being used as a poison.
Maybe you should
I don't.
get
Yeah, I can't
more
think of any
poison
other
use in your life.
examples. But yeah, you need to familiarise yourself with more poison, Sean.
Okay, so we're split on
We're
style.
quite split on style. Yeah, for me
Control?
it's quite low scoring.
No,
but-
no control at all. I mean,
No.
you spilt the poison everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a -10.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah. It's a -10 on our 0 to 5 scale.
Yeah, it's getting worse. Damage is pretty bad. I mean, to suffocate someone, it's gotta suck, right?
It's weird. It's got a high. It's like the potential is really high damage, but actually it's not a particularly aggressive way of dying.
No, it's because it's stealthy.
Yeah.
If anything, I'd say it's -5 aggression because you're giving him a milkshake first.
Yeah, milkshake. It's like, here you go, mate. Enjoy. And he's like, oh, cheers, mate. A Nesquik.
Well, I'd die happy with a nice
Nesquik.
milkshake.
I could actually go for a Nesquik right now. as
This
long as it's not got
episode,
some Botox in it.
Not sponsored by Nesquik, because they won't
Nesquik.
give us money. Okay, so the next thing they did was they went into his inner circle and they found his ex-lover, Marita Lorenz,
Ooh.
and they persuaded her to kill him because apparently they had a bad breakup and she didn't like him. And presumably they paid her quite a bit of money as well. That would probably sweeten the deal. So they gave her these pills again, which they I guess they had some left over from the mafia stuff. And she hid them in a jar of face cream and snuck into his suite. But unfortunately, the pills got ruined by the cream because they didn't think about how they'd react together.
Oh, wow.
I just love the idea that she put it in her face cream, forgot about it, the pill's just dissolved, and she's just rubbing the cream on her own face, being like, wow, this works so well.
It's
This is
Botox
great.
cream,
And then
yeah.
just yeah, basically, yeah.
It feels like I've ran a mile. It's getting hard to breathe.
Yeah.
But anyway, if the pills had worked and they hadn't dissolved, Castro caught her anyway in his suite, and he asked her if she'd come to kill him. Marita began to cry and said yes. He then handed her a pistol and said, well, do it then. She pointed the pistol at him, but after a minute she decided she couldn't do it. Castro then told her, of course you can't kill me. No one can.
Ooh. That's badass.
Okay, can I give him style points?
You can, yeah.
Okay. In that case, he gets a 10 on the 0 to 5 style scale.
Okay. No control again. The pills got ruined.
Yeah.
And also she couldn't keep her hand still with the gun. So, that's
So
bad.
within obviously the Bay of Pigs and like the Bay of Pigs deal are known about, but I'm thinking like, does he know at this point about all the assassination attempts?
It's a very badly hidden secret.
I like the way that
Yeah,
it could
but
just
is
be
it
like, there's
badly
been
hidden
300
now?
attempts on your life and you just don't know about it. It's just like carrying on as normal, just like
Yeah, like a film, you just keep
walking
dodging
down
all
the
these
street.
pianos.
Yeah, exactly. A piano above his head, yeah.
No, he definitely knew. He was like hiding in hotels with like massive security and stuff at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
So bad control. A lot of damage if it worked.
Yeah,
Well-
Again with the
again,
botulinum
it's
pills.
that high damage.
Getting
low
killed by your
aggression.
ex as well.
Yeah, that's psychic damage right there.
That probably raises the aggression score.
Aggression, I'd give it like a 3.
Yeah, it's higher aggression because it's personal.
It is.
Yeah.
Right, so the next thing the CIA tried was they got a Cuban resistance group who didn't like Castro, and they told them to shoot Castro's apartment from a building across the street with a bazooka,
Ooh.
which is very stealthy.
Yep. They'll never hear
Imagine
it
if the JFK assassination had been with that.
Oh my god.
I think the footage would be a lot easier to get information from.
Wow.
Well,
that
it
was the
wouldn't have
case.
hit. Like, I can see where this is going. I've got a feeling.
Can you?
'cause
Where do you think it's going?
RPGs aren't exactly the most accurate, are they?
No, not really.
I reckon it went straight past and then blew up like an ice cream truck or something. Like some like awful comedy.
Straight. It's like there was an open window. It went through one window and out the open window on the exact opposite side of the building. It, just
it was
to be
too
open.
accurate, if anything. No, you wish they even fired it because they called it off at the last minute. Their excuse was that they couldn't point the bazooka out the window without being seen. You know, because shooting the bazooka is so stealthy in the first place.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh no, where did the attack come from? I don't know, maybe from the only neighbouring building that's pointing directly at it with the guy
That's
still looking out the
ridiculous.
window."
Maybe follow the vapor trail leading from Castro's face to the
Exactly.
building.
We're not even. Well, I'm not personally an expert in weapons at all, but like with my limited knowledge, I can still tell that after firing it, they're going to know where you are.
Yeah.
Sticking the tip out the window isn't going to make a difference. That's
No,
incredible.
it's crazy, isn't it?
That's not them making a bad judgment call. That's literally the assassin going, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do it. And he's like pointing out of the window. He's like, oh, what if someone sees me? That's stage fright, that is.
Yeah, it's an excuse, isn't it?
Mm.
You got cold feet. So it's very stylish, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
I'll give it
ballsy,
a
isn't
4.
it?
I'd give it a 4. Not very controlled at all.
No, if anything, it was a 5 because they...
Because they cancelled it.
Because they... Yeah, I would say like a neutral score on the control because they didn't fire it and then miss. You know what I mean? They chose not to.
I mean, based on that, I've got a neutral score and control because I've never tried to kill Fidel Castro.
Okay.
Very high damage, though. Very aggressive.
Yes.
We're presuming that this worked, right?
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't just kill Castro, they'd also kill everyone in that hotel, probably. But it's worth it, you know?
It's probably a 6 for damage then, because it's too much.
Yeah, it's overkill, isn't it?
It's like more of a multi-kill. The good thing about it is that after they would have got the kill, they'd have been able to use their UAV, so they'd have been fine.
I mean, what would they be searching for on the UAV, though?
For when he respawns.
Yeah, obviously.
Their tack insertion just released in the hotel.
Right, moving on to the
Yeah.
next comedy plot. The CIA planned to kill Castro while he was visiting Santiago in Chile. They devised a way to conceal a gun inside a film camera in such a way that it couldn't be found if the camera was searched. So, like,
Okay.
his security at this point were like super search everything if anyone gets near Castro, but they did it in such a way that it couldn't be found.
Can only presume the barrel would have been the lens.
No,
Yeah,
I
maybe.
would have said it would be like there was some kind of firing mechanism in the side of it.
Like if it's like in my head I'm thinking a DSLR with a really long lens on it. You're looking down the scope, which is actually just the viewing point. You click take the picture, and it fires a bullet out the end of the lens with a really long barrel on it to give it extra like bullet control or whatever. And you aim at his head and you say cheese, motherfucker, and then click, and he just goes
badass.
kaboom.
That's extra
And you
star
get
points.
extra style points.
It had a rifled lens.
Yeah.
Extra control.
And then after they fired it, someone in the background's like, "Did you get the shot?"
Oh.
Mm.
So the assassins obtained fake press passes, and they were going to shoot Castro while he was doing a press conference down in Chile. But they called off the hit at the last minute, saying it was too difficult to carry out. Another case of them getting cold feet, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of chickening out here, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, the thing is, it's quite hard to get away with it. Like,
Yeah, it's
it's
the amount
a
of-
suicide mission, isn't it? If
definitely
you do any of
the
these.
amount of security they have that he had. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. So pretty stylish for the
Yeah.
catchphrase.
That's a
Pretty
5.
stylish.
It's 5 style. Pretty controlled as well, I think.
Probably, yeah. I can imagine it being controlled.
Yeah, I think they got the gun past the security, so pretty controlled. Damaging gunshot wounds, pretty damaging.
Nah,
Yeah.
it depends on the size of the camera, doesn't it? And like,
Yeah,
It'd probably
and
be a
size of the
small
bullet
caliber.
that the camera can hold. Yeah.
2, give it a 2.
give it a 2 for damage. I mean, if
Yeah.
it did the job, it did the job. But we're not talking about.
It's not
doing
got
the
much
job
collateral
with
damage.
No, exactly.
Pretty aggressive. No?
Like a
not
one,
really.
it's just pretending to take a picture and then killing someone. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, do it all
It's
the time.
stylish. It's stylish, but it's not really aggressive. I mean, going off the fact that killing someone isn't aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the baseline is wanting to kill him.
Yeah.
So we're going from that. The next thing I got to talk about is Operation Mongoose, which sounds
Okay.
pretty badass, but it's not badass at all. Because these are
It's
all
already getting
awful.
style points.
Just for the name.
Yeah, and also I want to give it damage points because the way that mongooses go after snakes, already this is going
It sounds
well.
aggressive.
It sounds aggressive, yeah.
But I've got a feeling it's just
Operation
the
Honey
US
Badger.
sending him a bill because he tried to send cigars out or something. It's like, we're going to tax you because you didn't declare it.
Perfect.
Didn't declare it
landing.
in customs, yeah.
Yeah, so Operation Mongoose was a secret program designed by the US to remove the Communist Party from power in Cuba, but it also sort of branched out to other countries as well. Basically, it was like, let's remove communism around the world from these places. But they'd never say they'd get involved, of course.
Mhm.
No.
They came up with some wacky assassination techniques, most of which never got past the planning phase. So this was like pretty early on, before the Bear Pigs. These were like, these are the brainstorming sessions. These are things we can do. And some of them got pretty far, actually. So, we mentioned this before, but when you think of Cuba, probably the first thing that comes to mind are Cuban cigars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty famous. Big cigars, you give them a smoke. Apparently quite nice.
Give him a smoke.
You clearly never smoked a cigar, have you? Give him a cigar, give him a smoke,
Give them a
job
smoke,
done.
yeah.
I mean, that's literally, he's not wrong.
Yeah, but Fidel Castro, he loves Cuban cigars. If you look at any pictures or footage of him, before the 80s, because he gave up smoking, he probably had a cigar in his hand or mouth. It's like the way you see him, like stereotypical. He's got a cigar, he's got a hat, he's got
Yeah.
a beard. That's Castro. So there were two ways in which the CIA planned to use cigars to kill him. The first was by applying bacterial liquids to a cigar to poison him, and the other was by lacing them with explosives.
Like,
Oh my God.
like Looney Tunes.
Like Looney Tunes in Acme style, when he lit it, it would explode.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dear
Maybe that's where
me.
Looney Tunes got it from.
That must be, surely.
I think Looney Tunes was before 60s, wasn't it?
Oh wait, so
I don't
that's what
know.
I love. That's even better. I love the idea that they've gone. Hang on a minute, that worked.
That's hilarious.
Let's try it. Constantly watching the Roadrunner escape.
Roadrunner. I mean, the Roadrunner always escaped, so it didn't work that well.
He was Castro. There you go.
Yeah.
It's canon now.
We've created history, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so there's two separate ones there. There's poison cigar and explosive cigar. Both pretty high on style, to be honest, though. Like
Yeah,
using his
although-
favourite thing against
Oh,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, although I think explosive cigar definitely has much more style than poison
It
cigar.
does,
'Cause
yeah.
poison is poison.
Yeah,
isn't
so
it?
I'd say
Still-
5 for the explosive cigars, but like 3.
Yeah, yeah for poison.
I think they're both pretty controlled, to be honest. It's a
Well,
small
I don't know.
package,
I think it's quite low control for the explosive.
but it's like a small, like, concentrate explosion.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking that it wouldn't be great, but that's genius. Yeah,
If
because
it's
I
in
was
your
thinking
mouth,
then,
to be fair,
how
it
would you
doesn't need
actually be
much.
able to set the explosives off? But you light a cigar.
No, he does it himself. That's
Genius.
That's the thing about it.
It's a 6 for control.
If
for
anything,
style.
it's suicide.
You can just imagine it, can't you? Someone be like, has anyone got a smoke? And he's like, oh yeah, hang on a minute. Passes it to his bodyguard or whatever. And then the person's watching it going, oh no, uh-oh, uh-oh.
I don't think it passes as suicide. Like, you're an idiot. You lit a cigar with explosives in.
Yeah.
Oh, Fidel.
He's up to his antics again.
Damaging, both pretty damaging.
Yeah.
Oh,
pretty
God, yeah.
damaging.
Can you imagine if it went off?
Potentially.
hmm And aggression. I think it's pretty stealthy, though. So not very
The
aggressive.
poison's like
Yeah.
1 aggression, but I mean, explosives are aggressive.
They are, in general.
Yeah. Relatively, yeah.
I'll give it like a 3 or a 4.
So speaking about explosions, Castro liked to go diving, so the US conceived some aquatic-related methods. He decided to hide explosives inside a seashell and somehow lure him towards it.
Oh my god.
What?
wow, look at that oyster. Look at that pearl. It looks just like a stick of TNT.
This is ridiculous. Like, I can literally see it in my head. Every single thing that you're talking about, I can see it as like a different skit. Different scene in this comedy, right? And like every single scene, he's like walking past, the piano falls down behind him, he's like, oh, not again. And then he goes diving, and there's like 5, like those sea mines that if you go...
with the spiky balls on.
And they're floating up, and he's just like, someone's badly painted them to look like coral or something, like not a mine.
Look at that.
This is how it feels.
Look at that weird sea cucumber.
No, the literal plan was to find an actual seashell and hide the explosives inside it, so it would look like natural.
Yeah.
But they ruled it out because they couldn't find a shell big enough to hold the explosives.
Yeah.
Make
a bit
one!
Like, you can just imagine it, can't you? Getting a clam, and the clam opening and it being a grenade instead of the pearl. But it's on a trip. It's on a tripwire. So he opens the clam, it pulls the pin out of the grenade, and then it explodes, and they realise that the water absorbs all the impact and nothing happens.
Oh my god. The next thing you're going to say is like...
so good.
They put electric eels in his bath. Or...
Well, there's definitely
shower
got to be one with his... There's got to be one with the oxygen canister, surely.
We'll get to it in a second, but let's rate the seashell explosion.
Let's rate the seashells. I mean, the style is... it's like ambitious, but it's... It's not.
How would they lure him towards it? They'd have to make it very colourful.
You'd have to write some anti-communism.
Is he well known for opening up clams?
Propaganda on it.
Well, maybe.
What a great euphemism! That man, yeah. He's definitely one that opens clams at the weekend.
He does have a lot of money, right? I reckon it's like a 4 or a 5.
I think it's 5 on style.
Yeah, it is pretty
It's
cool.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
There's no control.
There's no control. This is it.
How do you get into the clam? It doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And then he's then going to turn around and be like, if he's diving in the same spot, for example, as well, and then he does go down, he's like, huh. That fucking 15-foot long clam with a warhead sticking out of it. That wasn't there before.
With the laser pointer that's just targeting his head.
Pretty damaging, though.
Yeah, it's pretty damaging. I mean, would it be?
I think explosions underwater are worse, right?
I wouldn't think so. Like, the water absorbs so much of the velocity. Like shrapnel underwater, surely it's just going to slow down really quickly.
No, but I think the pressure wave is worse underwater.
True, yeah. Yeah, to be fair, the pressure wave would probably kill him, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It'd probably just rupture his organs. Which is pretty aggressive when you think of it that way.
Oh, yeah.
It is, yeah, but the sentiment's not very aggressive.
But clams are not aggressive, so it's a 1 from me.
Clams are not aggressive.
Have you ever been diving with a clam, Sean?
No, they couldn't get they couldn't get the oxygen tank on the back of it, so
fair enough.
He didn't pass the test.
It just doesn't fit the strap, does it? It's hard to do a buddy system when you can't do the OK sign.
With skydiving though, that was all right.
Yeah.
Was there a clam there?
Yes.
Obviously,
it was the pilot of the plane.
Yeah. So, second aquatic-related method. Provide Castro with a diving suit contaminated with fungus, and also contaminate the breathing apparatus with tuberculosis bacteria.
Oh.
So, as you guessed, Stuart, contaminate the breathing sort of thing. It's essentially poison, but
what they actually did,
last
minute, they swapped out the tuberculosis bacteria for black ink. So when he came up, he had a black ring around his mouth. And he was completely defamed because, what an idiot he looks like.
Oh, what a moron.
After they cut his beard off as well, so he just had like a perfectly round goatee.
If anything,
this is
better.
Ridiculous.
I told you it was ridiculous.
The thing is, it wouldn't even kill him. It wouldn't kill him that quickly either. Like, even if he managed to contract tuberculosis, it's not exactly a rapid killer. Like, it takes quite a long time.
And it doesn't necessarily kill either, right?
I think it was a different kind of... it was a related strain to tuberculosis, but it wasn't actually tuberculosis.
Okay.
I think it was like a bacteria type they used to make poison in some sort of way. I'm not really sure. Like a breathable gas, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, under the sea killings. They were a thing that they planned. I think that one got to the point of them buying the diving suit. But then they were like, no, this is too stupid. We can't do this.
Did they have the receipt?
I don't know.
I was going to make a joke, but couldn't think of it quick enough.
Yeah, I was also waiting for the joke, but it never came.
In my head, that it was going na 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 na. Hey. No, and there was just nothing happening. I was like, well, I'll just keep it silent for a few more seconds.
But I think because it's clothes related, pretty stylish, right? It's fashion related.
It's poison.
I mean,
but it's on a item of clothing.
There's nothing fashionable about an oxygen breather.
Did the suit have a shark fin?
What?
Because that's pretty stylish.
First question: did the suit have a shark fin?
Yeah. Did he have flippers?
I cannot confirm or deny that there was a shark fin on the suit.
Okay, next question.
In that case, there definitely was.
What wetsuits have you seen that are actually cool? I'm not a man of style, but a human dressed up in a condom is not cool.
No,
what if he had a massive beard?
Well, he did.
I know. Maybe that would make it look better.
Oh, yeah, he did. Sorry, we're still on about Castro.
Who are you on about?
Generic human number 5. That's all I meant.
Okay. Jimmy Johnson. Yeah. Control. I mean, it's breathing related, so it's pretty controlled.
Yeah. Although you do your pre-dive checks, don't you?
Yeah, you realise in the pre-dive check.
You'd be like, oh, it tastes a bit funny, this oxygen.
There's mould growing on my suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd notice. It's zero control. You have no control over it.
I like the way the wetsuit's lined with fungus, but that doesn't get into your skin, just it being mouldy.
Yeah, what kind of fungus is it?
It's classified, they don't say.
You can just imagine, like, they've left some bread out and put it inside, rubbed it in the inside of his suit, and, like, this will definitely get him.
It's funny that a lot of this is redacted as well, which I just find hilarious.
Redact more of it, you idiots. Don't give all this away that you tried to actually do this. Wow.
Yeah. Damaging, I mean, gas stuff is pretty damaging.
Yeah.
It's gotta suck, right?
It's like,
and if it was going to do anything, I suppose, they'd be intending to make him drown, right?
Yeah. Which is like extra breathing related death. Like you double can't breathe. That's how death works, right? You double can't.
The one, yeah.
Okay. Just good that a doctor agreed with me. That's all.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I write in the notes afterwards.
Not very aggressive, though.
No, it's not very aggressive, no. It's quite passive, actually. It's kind of hoping that he gets infected by it.
Hoping that he's an idiot.
Again, it's like the milkshake thing. Okay, the way he's dying isn't great, but he's diving. He's doing what he loves.
That is true.
Yeah. We still have a nice view of the undersea of the Mediterranean.
Was the mafia involved?
No, they'd given up at this point.
Because then he would have been sleeping with the fishes.
Nah. See, that's a crossover they didn't think of.
No, that one you can cut out.
Okay.
Or did you like that?
I liked it. We'll see. We'll see if it makes the cut.
Right, something's gone wrong, Stu.
I know.
So, there's a glitch in the Matrix. Alex liked the joke I made.
It's like the slow erosion of time. And he's just going to accept it.
Yeah.
He's like, do you know what?
If you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so the last notable, interesting one from Operation Mongoose was a poisoned pen that they constructed. So they hid a hypodermic needle in a pen, and they added a poison called Blackleaf 40, which sounds like the next cannabis strain that you'd buy in LA, I think. But apparently it's quite bad.
Oh, that'd be Blackleaf 420.
Blackleaf 420. Someone copyright that.
Patent pending.
The needle was apparently so fine that the victim wouldn't notice its insertion, which I don't believe because, I mean,
to be fair, that's not unrealistic, but it would also probably just snap.
If it was that thin, right?
Like, it would have to be like a hair. Like, you only have to think, though, about getting a splinter. You often don't realise you've got a splinter until you see it, and then it hurts. So...
Yeah,
maybe. So they gave the pen over to the CIA's Cuban asset, who was in Paris at the time, and apparently he was very unimpressed with the device, and he rejected the proposal. Interestingly, though, this was on the same day that our good friend JFK was shot.
Ooh.
Which adds more credence to the CIA being involved in Kennedy's assassination.
Yeah, it does. It's interesting that they didn't want him... Like, that would have been mad. Imagine if JFK and Castro died on the same day. That would be... Like, the CIA would be like, oh, sweet.
Job done.
it only took us 20 years.
You can retire now.
So what do you think about that? That's literally like a spy. It's a James Bond thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That is very James Bond, yeah.
So pretty stylish.
I'd say a 5 or 4.
It's very stylish.
Like, you can't get more stereotypically cool than James Bond, can you? And, like, gadgets, and... It's kind of like the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that the CIA, you'd imagine the CIA would come up with.
Yeah, in my head, I've got, like, the idea, you know, like when you go, oh, I can't get this pen to work, and you kind of double-click it a couple of times, and then you draw on your own finger with it to see if you can get it to work.
And you forget you've got the hypodermic needle
Yeah.
pen.
Yeah, and you just stab it into your own finger and
Hopefully the assassin
bollocks.
wouldn't do that. Maybe that's why he rejected it, because he was like, I so often draw on myself, I can't be trusted with this pen.
I have too many pens.
That gives him the wrong pen. Fuck. Oh, I gave him a Bic.
No, actually,
What I
as
really
we're
wanted
going
to do
through
was give
this,
him-
that one wasn't actually that ridiculous. That was actually pretty, like, cool. But it feels, I was on about, it's going through sketches. It's now becoming more Family Guy than, like, slapstick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think the seashell was at that point.
The seashell was peak,
yeah.
It was,
I feel like in this pen thing, the needle would have to be in the clicker. So as you click it down, it pricks your thumb without you realising it.
I imagined it to be in the actual pen bit.
Right,
Like
but
he
if
would be
it's-
stabbed by the assassin. But yeah, maybe it makes sense
If
that
it's
they
in the
give him the
clicker,
pen.
he'd do it himself.
Yeah.
Which would be...
Can you actually... That's genius if that's what they did, but I don't think that's what they did. But...
I'm not... It's redacted,
I mean-
I'm not sure.
Yeah. You can get insulin checkers, right? Or, like, blood sugar testers for people with diabetes.
Yeah.
Those apparently do hurt.
Yeah, they do.
Right, so they do hurt, but is that because I can't understand a needle that doesn't hurt? That would still be
I
effective.
also don't understand that.
Like, is it because, Stu, if you don't know it's there, you're less
Yeah,
likely to know about
so-
it? So if you just click a pen, it might sting a little bit, but you might just thought, like, it's just... You might not have even noticed it.
I think it's a case of it's how conscious you are of the situation that you're in. So if you're having your blood sugar checked, the chance that someone's told you that they're going to prick your finger, and then because you're aware of it,
You become
feel it more.
much
A
more
bit like
aware,
having a vaccine or any blood test, and they say right, sharp scratch, and then we do it. Like, you know it's coming. There's a certain amount of you brace yourself for it.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody walks, like, okay, an example, and it's quite a horrible example, but an example is of people who get assaulted in poor countries. They often get stabbed by something really small and really sharp. South Africa has a really horrible way of muggery, which is that people take the spoke out of a bike wheel and sharpen it so it's really, really pointy and really sharp. And they walk past somebody and they basically skewer them in the back.
Oh.
And the idea is that what you try and do is you try and get the spine. And when they do that, the person goes, oh, and they don't really know what's happened because it's a bit of a weird... they weren't expecting it. It's taken them completely off guard. But their legs give way, they fall to the ground, and then people get mugged. And then,
Fuck.
like, it's really horrible. But most of the time in those cases, the person's like, I don't know what happened, my leg stopped working. And then they find out they've got a stab wound in their back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a case of how aware you are of a situation. It's the same with people being stabbed in muggings. In, like, I know films are dramatized, but you sometimes see the person that's got stabbed in the belly as someone's walked past, and they kind of look down and go, "Oh my god, there's blood," and then they go, "Oh."
Yeah.
Like that. It's a lot of it's just awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I think something that's really fine, particularly if it just pricks you on the finger. You might just not think too much of it. You might just think, "Oh, did I get an electric shock?" rather than, "Was I stabbed by something?"
Mm-hmm.
But if the needle's that fine, it needs to be under sustained pressure, really, for you to be able to get poison in. Because if you imagine, if a needle's that fine, say it's the width of, I don't know, human hair or something stupid like that, it needs to be in there for a while to be able to propel the fluid up.
That's the thing, yeah.
Like the flow rate in that tiny, tiny needle is going to be so low, you're going to have a massive concentrated poison in something that's less than a mil, probably, to be able to inject it. That's the thing,
and if you're clicking a pen, it doesn't take long to click a pen.
No, exactly. It would be better if you clicked the pen and then the pen blew up. That would be more effective.
Yeah, just put explosives in the pen.
Just put C4 inside the pen and then wait.
But then it would just blow his hand off, though.
Yeah, but
you couldn't. Maybe now, I don't know. But I'm imagining like the amount of explosives that could go into a pen. It wouldn't be much.
It'd be like one of those stupid pens you get now, where they've got like a lot. It'd be like a long pencil that's all floppy and it's got a big ball on the end. But the ball on the end is actually just a grenade. Just like wagging it back into him, like, oh, it's a bit heavier today than it was yesterday.
I like how scientific we just got on this stupid episode that I've put together.
Wait, we're educational on Ramblings of a Madman.
We are indeed, yeah. Your finest assassination attempts brought to you by
the Michelin star assassination attempt.
Michelin star.
Michelin star.
That's the rating system we should have used.
Yeah.
Michelin stars. Okay, so
exquisite.
Stylish, pretty stylish. I'd give it a 4.
Yeah.
Pretty controlled as well, if it works.
I mean, no.
I think if you've got a reliable method, it's really controlled.
Yeah.
But I think the method is very unlikely to be reliable, and therefore for me it's uncontrolled.
For me, it's more likely if someone had it and would stab him.
Yeah. Well, you might as well just use a knife. If you're close enough to stab him with a pen, you're close enough to stab him with a knife.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Exactly. Wait, what?
No, like if someone was gonna use the pen to stab it, so the needle comes out where the actual pen would, you'd be able to get way more, length on it. The needle could be thicker. And you're saying like, oh, it needs to be something that he wouldn't notice. If you're saying that someone can jab a bicycle spoke into someone's back and they wouldn't even known how it's happened, then you could get like walk past him, jab him in the neck with it, walk off.
Yeah, or just like tap him
I'm
on the
imagining it
shoulder.
being like a pencil pen.
Yeah, well, like a pneumatic pencil where you keep clicking it and the needle comes out.
And then it snaps and you have to do it again.
You're like, oh shit.
God damn it. So aggression, damaging aggression.
I mean,
it's poisonous, damaging. We've established this already.
The way that they're doing it, for me, it's in terms of aggression, it's quite low because they wanted him to not notice. That's like a 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's like passive aggressive.
I'd agree with that. Yeah,
but
I definitely agree with that one.
Luckily, 40's got to be damaging, right? That's going to like kill your nervous system or something.
Mm.
It's like rattlesnake venom.
So we don't know what that does.
No, it's classified.
Obviously.
Oh, let's have a look. It's nicotine sulfate.
Oh, is it really?
Oh, it's not very classified, is it, Alex?
I mean, most of this isn't classified. I'm just making the joke.
Nicotine alkaloid, so it's an insecticide.
Oh.
So it'll cause alkaloid poisoning, basically, which is something I can't remember or can't be bothered to look up and explain.
This is actually really funny because I've just realised that anything that's classified or redacted is just something that Alex doesn't know and can't be asked looking up.
Pretty much, yeah. That's my excuse this time.
So, Alex, who is Fidel Castro? Sorry, it's redacted. Could possibly tell you.
Well, what was his first name? I don't know. No one knows Fidel Castro's first name.
No. It's a mystery.
Next attempt.
So I've got one more attempt. And besides the shell, this one's my favourite. This is called Operation Bounty. And it involved dropping leaflets over Cuba, offering rewards for assassinations. Why do it yourself when you can get the citizens to do it for you?
Okay.
So they offered $5,000 to $20,000 for informants, $57,000, very specific, for department heads, whatever that means, $97,000 for foreign communists hiding in Cuba, and up to 1 million for members of the Cuban government. So it wasn't just Castro, they wanted, like, just kill anyone and we'll give you money. Yeah.
Jesus, whoa, hang on. This is really bad.
This is really bad. And also, the best thing about it is for Castro, they offered 2 cents.
What?
Because he's not worth it.
Ooh, sick burn.
Sick burn. That's why it's my favourite.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. That's not true. I don't. You can say
it's something they planned in a dusty CIA room somewhere.
We'll make the reward 2 cents because he ain't worth shit.
Yeah.
No.
Imagine if that would have been a disaster if they did that. Just a leaflets dropping all over the country. No, they didn't. These are things that they've got to the planning stage, but they were like, no, we can't. This is ridiculous.
That it actually got to the planning stage, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the idea of the bounty, like actually putting real money out in a foreign country is a bit dodgy. It's not your jurisdiction, all that. That's really bad. But it's an interesting idea. Like, the people will do a lot of things for money.
Mm-hmm. They will.
The thing is, though, how do you, who do you put on the leaflet that is responsible for the payment?
It doesn't matter.
That's the sticking
point. It doesn't matter
for
if
me.
Someone's thick enough to take the bounty.
Yeah, but
you don't even need to pay them. They'll just go, The other just see like a dusty old wanted poster with a badly drawn man with a big beard and a cigar sticking out of his face. And they'll be like, have you seen Castro with a K? And the R backwards.
A backwards K.
And it'll just be like, oh yeah, we'll go kill him. We'll go kill him because we'll get, 5 million.
2 cents.
No, it'll be 5 million Monopoly money. And they'll be like, oh my God, that must be a lot of money in America. Or whatever, you know what I mean? And then they'll actually go and do it. And then they...
Wait, who do we hand this to?
I'm exaggerating a bit. But seriously though, if someone's actually thick enough to do it. No, to be honest, no, it's not. Because there's no guarantee you're going to get that money. But whoever actually killed Castro, unless they were sneaky about it, but if you're doing it for a bounty, you do it and make sure you were the guy who was known. If you survived after, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's an issue.
I picture them dropping the leaflets from a plane, literally over the country, just raining these leaflets down.
Yeah, that's what I've got in my head. It's kind of surely the aircraft, though, that's flying into their airspace is going to have to be flying pretty slowly to be able to drop concentrated leaflets in populated areas. There's no point in dumping them all into the sea or into somewhere that no one's going to see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you drop them in Havana.
You might as well just get a biplane to fly over with a banner on the back saying, "Kill Castro, 6 cent reward."
Brackets, totally not US government.
Yeah, and make sure it's written in Spanish.
Yeah, they do.
Just write it in American.
They do it in English.
Oh, bollocks.
Even better, they write it in...
Maybe that's why it didn't work.
They write it in... Oh, what's it called? Fuck. The gas that comes out the back of planes. Air writing.
The vapor trail.
Air writing.
Oh, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. It's all a true story. Very stylish.
Yeah, because to be clear, these are what... Sorry, before we go into the rating, this is what will have been released over time, isn't it? Because yes, it's been redacted, but like we've discussed with the Philadelphia experiment and stuff like that, after time, the documents expire and they have to release them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of these are from the guy I mentioned at the start, the Cuban operative guy. Who knew about a lot of plots. Some of them are literally from the CIA, who released some documents saying these are ways we tried to kill Castro. That's how we know about Operation Mongoose.
Mm-hmm.
And the seashells in that one as well. That's actually the thing they released themselves. They were proud of it.
They were desperate.
Yeah, but these are all actual ways, historical ways that they planned to kill the guy. Yeah, so very stylish. To sow chaos.
It's the complete chaos, though.
No,
so
it's for me. No. The style for me is a 0, because if you've got no style if you're resorting to getting the common man to do it for you. Do it
But
yourself.
they had the sick burn in there.
Okay, yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's more like
You've
a
got to
3,
think about
actually.
sick burn.
But then I'm going to put it back down to a 0 because it's an awful burn. Like, it's saying... It's literally like... They might as well have dropped leaflets with a big middle finger on it, saying, fuck you, Castro. That's not...
I think they did that anyway. That was like a normal Tuesday for them.
The main, do you know
that was
what though?
attempt number 32.
The sticking point for this though is that if you can fly a plane low enough to just drop leaflets, why don't you just bomb him?
Yeah, well, yeah. But then it is collateral in it. Like, you're right, but yeah. I don't know, they tried it though with Bay of Pigs, so...
These are all potential assassins. You don't want to kill off those people who could
Well,
be
that's
doing the
true.
work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no control. It involves a random person picking up a leaflet and deciding to ruin their life.
It's got vigilante justice written all over it though for damage. Like it could potentially be horrendous. Like it could have been complete open chaos mob, complete revolt.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an infinity on damage because it could be like super stealth, with just like a guy sneaking into Castro's suite and killing him, or it could just be like a literal massive mob. It could be the entire country killing him.
Yeah,
So-
just turning up at the government building and forcing their way in.
So it runs
Like
the
how the
gambit.
bloody march did into the oh god, what was it? The one that Trump ordered into marching.
Oh,
into...
the Congress thing.
Yeah, like if there's enough people, they'll just push their way in.
Yeah.
Like it has the potential for real, like really high damage and like.
I mean, Area
really
51
high
didn't
aggression.
really work, did it?
No, but those were all like Redditors. Like
Yeah,
they're
true.
too nerdy. You need like high blood pressure Trump supporters to pull off something like that.
You need Castro's beard, not neck beard.
Exactly. Aggression, I'd say not very aggressive.
No,
You're handing out flyers.
The means to an end is not very aggressive at all. The end is potentially really aggressive.
I
It's the means
think
to the end for this.
Rallying, well, either rallying or bribing, whichever way you look at it. Rallying, just, again, the common man. I feel like that's quite aggressive, like trying to turn a country against him.
Okay.
It's not like a 5, but I reckon it's like a 3.
Yeah, we'll split the difference and go 3. I was going to say 2, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
Thanks for that one.
So yeah,
2.7 it is.
That's all of the stupid assassination plots
It's just
that I picked out
ludicrous.
for us.
Just absolutely ludicrous.
In the end, Fidel Castro died in 2016. The cause of death
What
was
did he
never
die of?
it was never disclosed,
Oh,
but he
I
was
bet
90.
assassinated.
so it was probably a small gust of wind, in my opinion.
Like I always think of when people are that old and they die, it's like, you know, when Thanos clicks his finger and everyone
Yeah.
turns to dust. It's like there was a gentle breeze and Castro blew into
Pretty
wind.
much, yeah.
Just
But I don't know, maybe the seashell got him. Maybe he just
Yeah.
he walked too close to the pretty seashell and it just blew up and got him.
Yeah, because
and
he was
actually there
still
was just a
diving at
ginormous
90.
crack in it. Oh my god, the giant squid was inside it.
Way.
How did we not come up with the giant squid?
That's a reference and a half, that is. Oof.
Well, we didn't come up with the giant squid because we didn't plan these. Our
That's
plans
true.
wouldn't
If we
nearly be
planned
this
it-
ridiculous.
If we planned it, the
They'd have been
giant
more
squid would be
ridiculous.
responsible.
Yeah, so that's it. What do you guys reckon? Enjoy yourselves?
Yeah, I want to pick a favourite. I want each of us to pick a favourite.
pick a favourite.
I really like. I mean, the seashell. I want to say pick a favourite that isn't the seashell because the seashell's
Yeah,
just amazing.
well, could you do a quick run through, just a quick recap?
Oh yeah, go on. Yeah.
Okay, so Bay of Pigs invasion, the big one.
Okay.
The Mafia attempts. The ex-lover, Mauricio Lorenz.
Yeah.
The stealth bazooka, as I've named it.
Yeah.
The fake camera gun.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
The 2 types of cigars. The diving suit. The poisoned pen, and my favourite, Operation Bounty.
Your favourite opposite is Operation Bounty.
Yeah, just for the sick burn at the end.
Yeah, fair enough. Mine is somewhere between stealth bazooka because it's just ridiculous, and the camera. I think for me because the camera was just cool. Like imagine if it worked.
Yeah, I mean they got close to. I think they actually got it into the press conference, so
Like that's
it literally could have
insane.
worked.
Insane. It could have worked. But I do just like the idea of a guy leaning out the window with a bazooka and then going, "Hang on a minute, people can see me here." I think
Pretty
I would-
much, yeah.
pretty much. Yeah. Camera for me. I think this. I like this. I like the style and control that comes with the hidden camera gun.
Nice. What do you reckon, Sean?
For me, I am torn between Bazooka because it's absolutely ridiculous that he said, "No, I don't want to get seen." But I think I'm actually going to go with his ex-lover. It's so badass to be like, "You can't kill me. No one can." That's like,
yeah, I forgot about how
super
cool it was.
villain level, like badass motherfucker. You know what I mean?
So you're going with that one not for the actual assassination plot,
No, just
but for Castro's reaction to it.
Exactly, but I think that ties it up nicely because they're all ridiculous. None of them should be anyone's favourite because they're all shocking. And the only good thing about it is Castro.
Ramblings of a Madman is currently available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify and YouTube. All the links are available on Twitter at Roam Podcast, that's ROAM Podcast. Thank you for listening and we'll see you next time.
Bye!